I'm just going to focus on the other outgoing personality, the I personality. These are the group of people that have this high grade energy. They have this wonderful first impression when they dress up and they step out because the environment around them, the atmosphere just changes. Okay, they are very positive, they are very happy, very giggly. They are born persuader. They are the politicians, they are salespeople, they are people that can sell you a pen that costs $2. They can make you buy it for $100. They can sell anything to you. They will be in sales. They will be in customer service. There will be comedians, and there are people that will make you laugh. So they think in terms of woo. They want to know that the company that will be at that party will be fun. So when you're talking to them, there's a language that you use. You want to use words like fun. There will be fun. There will be fun. There will be fun. So with the I personality, they are so optimistic and so enthusiastic about life. They are always thinking of the next fun thing. So the thing about it is that when you are given a presentation, the person that you see that will all of a sudden grab a phone and is going through, think of an I personality. But with our own natural eyes, without learning this language, we would think that, oh, maybe I'm very, very boring. That is why they are not paying attention. No, if you understand this language, you just realize that that is probably an I personality more than often. That is bored, not bored because you are not interested, but because they are more interested in storytelling. So immediately when I'm given a presentation or I'm doing a workshop, when I identify somebody like that, I don't take it that I am the one that has a problem or I am the one that is not doing something right. I know immediately to be able to transition to a story, and all of a sudden it's just like automatic. You see an I personality will lay their phone down and all of a sudden they are clapping. You see that? So I'm helping myself. I'm sparing myself from intrapersonal conflict because I start telling myself all this lie. Oh, that is so disrespectful. How could she be mean? Whereas it's just me understanding how they are wired. There is something that they need at that point that if I understand, I give it to them well, I'll be able to get them back around. And that works all the time. The I personality too are the group of people that are really talkative. They talk non-stop. They are the ones that will come and tell you, oh, have you heard this, that. This auntie did this. Oh, this is what is happening at this location. And this is what is happening between nursing and pharmacy. They just like to talk, but more often than not, they are misunderstood to be gossips. People would misunderstand them and term them gossipers. But if you really understand an I personality, they are just people that like to talk and they want people to know what is going on. And so there's a way that you behave with I personalities that don't make them feel bad. Because the worst thing you can do to an I personality is to tell them that they are too talkative. Because when you do that, you're not going to be able to build a relationship that makes them feel comfortable. Remember, people are looking for where there is convenience. People are looking for good experience. So for an I, a good experience is talking and connecting with you and getting your approval. So when you shut them down and you use a negative word like they talk too much, guess what? You cannot have that kind of a relatable or a win-win interaction with them. So now you see how important it is, regardless of whether we are men or women, to be able to understand the unique personalities of others, because it boils down to how we communicate. Because if we don't communicate, focus on that, we will do so many things so wrong, because what we think is right just ends up being so wrong with the other person. And that is why we can never use the golden age, treat people the way we want to be treated, because we are way past that age. People are looking for things that are different now. So the other thing I want to wrap up with the I personality is that they have to get better at realizing that you cannot be optimistic all the time. So you sit down, pause over things, and think things through. So they are the type of personalities that if you tell them that, hey, for spring break, can we go to Hawaii? They would say, oh yeah. They will forget that same spring break they made an appointment to go visit their parents on vacation. They forgot that same spring break they had promised their colleague at work that, you know what, I'll be helping you cover a shift. And so they've even forgotten to check their bank account before committing to a trip to Hawaii. So when you are dealing with an I personality, always realize that they might forget. Why? Because they are more interested in the next fun thing. And it's for that reason why a lot of people might either have problems with them because they think that, oh, you stood me up, or you're not real, you're not genuine, or you tell me that you will show up and you don't show up. And to be honest with you, I personalities will not show up to appointments. The thing about this is that they will not even remember that they promised you. So for you to save yourself the pain and the intrapersonal conflict, you have to be able to, it's your duty to be able to understand people And so when you are faced with circumstances like that, you don't blow it out of proportion. You understand that, oh, that is my I personality friend. So it's always good for you to bring awareness, and there's a technique to pace and lead them out of that motion rather than calling them names that will destroy your relationship. Remember, in this relational age, relationships are so pricey. They are like they are as pricey and precious as a rhodium. And so if you break them, it's hard for you to rebuild them because the consequences are too high when you mess up a relationship. So make sure you get to know your I personalities very well. So I was giving this presentation to a group of pharmacists, and one told me that, you know what? For the longest, I thought my mom had dementia. But after workshop and training, now I realize that she's just an I personality that focuses on the next fun thing. Can you imagine a pharmacist, an educated person for years dealing with her mom, but having this notion that they are demented? And only to realize that it is so different. It is different because they are like that just because of their personality. But that's not only all. There are so many kids that have been misdiagnosed. They have been called upon, they've been put on medication for ADHD just because teachers don't understand them. Parents don't understand how their kids are wired. So they go to the doctor, they say, oh, they are hyper, they are this, and they put them on all this medication that consequently ends up messing them up because they have all these side effects. So even as pharmacists, I challenge you to be able to look at your patients because you understand this language now. You ask them questions and you try from your own point of view to understand whether this is just a personality thing. Remember, if it's a personality thing, you can always pace and leave people out of that personality type by causing them to adapt to different personalities rather than just putting them on medication. So a lot of parents have made this mistake. And I'll give you an example. I have a daughter that is DI, and so she's I and D. And because she has that blend, she kind of like really has focus. But when she's at home doing her relaxed time, you know what she does? She doesn't go to school. She goes, she scatters it, gets what she wants. At the end of the day, they are mandated to organize their lockers. She will organize it. But the thing is that the teacher knows that when she comes, when she wants a pen, she turns that thing upside down. But throughout her schooling, they really didn't understand her until she got to fourth grade, where this teacher made a difference in her life. This teacher had understanding of this language. And when this teacher realized that she was very smart, she would do her work so well. She has a D personality, so she's task-oriented. She gets bored fast. And so when they're taking the test, it is not unusual to have my daughter just walk out of class just to take a walk. And when the teacher told me during one of the conference, I'm like, oh, is she supposed to do that? She said, well, you know what? She always gets 100% on her test. She's a little bored. Why don't you let her take a little stroll? Do you know that that teacher changed my daughter's life? From then henceforth, she became this person that was more confident in herself, or she started doing things more effectively, as opposed to in the past when they were always asking her, giving her time out from standing and talking to her friends. This teacher knew that this is how she was wired, and so motivated her, but at the same time made her help her to make good choices and pace and led her out of behaviors that she needed to. Think about it. We all have our own blind spots, and if that is a blind spot of the I personality, we have to be careful not to encourage them to be on one other medication. As a matter of fact, I think that all pharmacists should be trained very, very hard on this language, because we are that point person between physicians and pharmacists, and we stand at the proper position to be able to counsel patients and ask them questions. So when they go back to their doctor, they can have very good conversations. So now you see why it is important that we understand this language, because without a good understanding of this language, a lot can go on. The I personality, what I would tell you is that you just have to encourage them not to be too optimistic. And when you have plans with them, make sure that you just give them a reminder call, because more than likely they're already thinking of the next fun thing. They're not thinking of that appointment. So again, these are the comedians, these are the salespeople, these are the politicians, you name it. So with that being said, I will wrap up with the outgoing personalities, and in the next sections, we're going to focus on the S and the C, and these are the ones that are pertaining to physicians, and that is related to this webinar today. So, but before I wrap up, I just want us to put our hands together for the I and the D personality again, because guess what? Nobody is wrong, nobody is right. We are not here to judge. We are not here behind the motivation. It's just how they do what they do. And so before we start the next section, I want you to take a few minutes and think of 2 people in your life that actually have the characteristics of a D personality and what that meant to you. What did you perceive them to be? What did you think their motives were? I want you to think of a D personality 2 and then an I personality. And now, after having this presentation, what do you think about them? Okay? Thank you.